With the recent political tension increasing between China and Japan, it has started to affect gaming media in China, Gachas included. Specifically when it comes to catering to Japanese culture or inclusion of anything that is Japanese. Honkai Star Rail being affected the most out of all the other gacha games we know, due to the fact that the very next region up and coming was meant to be Japanese themed. It also didn't help that the beta test for 4.0 was being delayed, and we were barely getting anything concrete regarding 4.0. Only some speculations that the developers were going to make some changes to the new region, possibly taking out anything and everything that is Japanese like, cancelling characters that were Japanese themed, or just changing them to Chinese themed. Who knows, we'll have to see if it eventually comes out. And so with the 3.8 live stream, we were hoping to see some official information with regards to the delay, and unfortunately what we got was...
It's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but this is probably the first live stream where I just felt like I wanted to uninstall the game. The fact that this is the last version 3.x live stream means that anyone that is watching this live stream is more excited and more anticipating any information that is relating to version 4 and beyond. So, after watching this live stream and realizing that nothing was shown, not a tease, not a preview, not even a slight mention of version 4, you kind of just have to judge the live stream as it is with the 3.8 content. And well...
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
Yeah, nothing short than disappointment. Knowing that within the first 15 seconds that the Spinacone story was just going to be one massive retcon. Lots of rerun events, reused assets, just throw in stuff that we already made, put in this patch, call it a day. This is probably looking like the most low effort patch that is coming out in HSR history. Maybe the story will be nice, but once the story is done, there is literally nothing to do in this game. Especially that it's now delayed by an extra 2 weeks, so totaling up to 8 weeks, so 2 months of absolute nothingness. Oh, it sucks to be an HSR only content creator, if I do say so myself. But there's a few things I want to talk about in this live stream that either felt very humorous to listen to, or just kind of like, what the hell guys, why are we doing this? So first things first, I find it very funny that, so I know that in every live stream, they give us some explanations and a little bit of story spoilers to look forward to, but they do it in a way where they'll tell you just enough and then they'll allude to certain things. I found it funny that in this specific live stream, the things that they were alluding to eventually just got shown off. And my thought process was, okay, so you're just straight up telling us rather than letting us discover it later. They might as well just tell us the whole plot one time. I mean, there's enough visuals to know what the plot's going to be about, and I just need to know who writes these scripts for these live streams, man. Like, they need to do a much better job with making us feel excited for the plot. They introduced a new boss, which is basically a swarm-looking version of Sam. I do have a big complaint about this one, which is that they use a lore reason to justify why this boss kind of just has 100% reused animations compared to the normal Sam fight. It just feels lazy, it feels tacked on. I instantly lost excitement for fighting this boss. However, there is one mechanic that stands out, and that is characters unable to deal crit damage, with the exception of a chosen character. Now, when I think about this kind of just counters teams that have sub DPSs or have more than one character in the team that can crit. So hypercharacter teams will still do fine, but obviously this boss caters towards super break and dots. But here's my thought process. Because this is the last brand new boss before 4.0, which is supposed to be the introduction of the elation path, what if the elation path has a brand new damage type that works similar to dot and super break? That makes more sense to me because we don't want to go into 4.0, or rather, Hoyoverse doesn't want to go into 4.0 onwards with true damage still being a thing. They obviously want us to move away from true damage because true damage was version 3's main damage gimmick. And so version 4 onwards needs a brand new damage gimmick, so that we can move out of the meta of true damage and move into the meta of whatever Elation's going to be. And with Constance being a character that improves Super Break, this is obviously a way for us to get through version 4.0 with Super Break being one of the more viable team options to use. Here is the message of the patch being delayed, or rather extended by 8 weeks. Now, due to the format of this announcement, this obviously feels like a last minute inclusion, and it feels like there was going to be way more in this live stream than what it was. You can clearly feel that a lot of stuff was cut out and included in this segment alone, just to get it out of the way. I kind of wish that they would have told us what's happening, or actually give us a lot of compensation for this patch, because I feel that a lot of people are just not going to be playing this patch, or this patch will straight up just make them quit the game for good. So I believe Hoyoverse should have just given us or showered us with a lot more rewards or something, just to make us, the player, feel more incentivized to be patient, surviving through 8 weeks of this patch. It just kind of makes sense to me. I think about Wuthering Waves when it first came out, how buggy the game was, how unplayable it felt, and then they showered us with lots of free 5 stars just to make us tolerate the bugginess of a game. HSR should have done the same thing, but because they haven't, I feel as if 3.8 is going to be the most weakest patch, the most driest patch of all time. Here we come to the events. I see this first event and my thought process is, why are we going back to Enforius? We just said our goodbyes, our 33 million goodbyes to all the crisis heroes, and now next patch we are back with them again as if they are never left. I thought this was a Penacony patch, but it seems all our events are in Enforius now. Overall, guys, I don't know how to feel about this patch. Thank goodness HSR is not the only gacha game I play, and it's not the only gacha game that I intend to cover in this channel. I am looking forward to Arknight's Infield as well, although that game is having its own controversies right now that I want to get into detail, but I actually want to wait a little bit more further to see any developer responses, or possibly when the beta ends, I'll make a video with regards to the reception on the beta and how CN feels about it. I also play Genshin Impact, but Genshin Impact just feels like a story game to me because I really love Nordcry's story. The end game is kind of whatever, though I personally love Imaginarium Theatre. So that two factors are the only things I look forward to in Genshin Impact. I also play Zenless Zone Zero, but I've constantly been on the fence of quitting or not quitting. I'm basically still on the ride to see how 2.5 goes. If 2.5 ends up being disaster, I would most likely just quit the game there and then, because there's a lot of things that stopped being fun for me. Story just downgrades significantly. The power creep in the game is absolutely insane. It feels like I'm playing Honkai Impact 3rd again. There's just a lot of things that I'm dissatisfied with in ZZZ. And Wuthering Waves, it's more or less the same as how I feel about Genshin Impact, though the in-game feels more boring than Genshin Impact, in my opinion. Though I do love going through Wuthering Waves' story, the quality never misses, and I respect the developers for always experimenting in the story, trying new things. It makes it more exciting to go through the story to see just how these experimentations work wonders when doing the story quests. And last but not least, I do play the original Arknights, but I'm waiting for the PC client to release so that I can stream the game just for fun. It sucks playing on phone, but I've been doing it for 5 years, so it's no different. But yeah, guys, that's just kind of how I feel after watching this live stream. Comment down below what you guys feel about this patch. Give this video a like if you feel the same way as I do, or dislike the video if you really dislike HSR and this patch as a whole. Subscribe to the channel to look forward to more content from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.